Welcome everyone, my name is Jesus Gonzalez and I'll be demonstrating today on how to create a pivot table in Microsoft Excel. Now let us go over some key points to help us understand a pivot table. First, what is a pivot table? A pivot table is an interactive way to quickly summarize large amount of data. Next, we'll talk about some features that the pivot table uses. One feature is summarizing data by categories and subcategories. Another feature is it can sum numerical data. Up next, I will demonstrate how to use a pivot table. First, we will open the Excel file that has been provided named pivot table example. We see that we have data labeled dates, items, in stock, sold, and price. Next, we'll select columns A to E and click on Insert on the menu toolbar. Here we can find the Pivot Table button. A blank new worksheet will open with a menu on the right named Pivot Table Fields, which has the headings from the data we selected. We also have another section on the bottom with the labels Filters, Columns, Rows, and Values. First, we will look at the Filter option. We will move one of our data headers into the filter area. For this example, I will move the day field to the filter area. As you can see, the field is now populating on the left and there's a drop down area. If we click on the drop down arrow, it gives us the data under the days header and we can select all the data or one option. Now we will look at the column area. This time we will select the item field and drag it to the column section. As you can see, the data we had under items are now populating. Also, a great feature the pivot table does is combine similar data into one. Next, we will look at the rows section. This time we'll move the price field into the rows section. As you can see, it added the prices to the right of the items data under columns. Lastly, we will look at the value section. For this time, we will move the sold field to the values area. As you can see, it added the total amount of items we had in our data for each item. It also summed up the total of all the items we sold for all the days. Now we will make a change to the data on the filter section. We are going to click on the drop down arrow and double click on any day. I will select Wednesday and then press OK. We can now see that our data on the pivot table updated to show only data that correlates to Wednesday. As you can see, the pivot table is an excellent way to summarize data from a large amount of information by combining and categorizing similar data. The pivot table is an excellent tool when working with reports that require certain information. It is also useful for data analysis. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you learned something new and that you enjoyed this lesson. If you have any questions on the information presented today or would like a copy of the slides, please feel free to contact me.